guys, welcome to my channel Vinyl Beauty, or welcome back. My name's Debbie if you don't know me. For today's video we're going to be doing a full face get ready with me, but also having a little bit of a chat about getting older. Now I did a tag called the Ageless Beauty Tag about 18 months ago, talking about getting older, but it was more related to like the beauty world and, you know, whether you could or couldn't wear makeup and all of that. So I'll link that if you want to catch it, but this one's going to be more in general and sort of how I'm feeling about getting older and just some thoughts that are on my mind. So it's going to be more about that than it is about the makeup, but we are going to be using a palette I've not used before on my channel as well, which is the 80s Baby palette from Pinky Rose Cosmetics. And it's a beautiful colourful palette. I don't know why I haven't used it. Probably because I've got way too much makeup than any one person could ever need. We're going to be using the shades in this end today and doing some purpley, pinky, bluey kind of shades. So without further ado, I'm going to scoot you in and let's get started. Okay guys, we're going to go in with the number 7 HydraLuminous foundation. I've run out of my Beautifully Matte Light foundation, so we've got to start on a new foundation today. Had this one sitting there as a backup for a long time, and I was determined to use my other foundation up before I started using this one. So the idea to do this video came about because I was watching my friend Lisa Lobotomy, and she does the best get ready with me's. I love watching her get ready with me's. She always picks topics to talk about that resonate with me, and she's a lot younger than me. I think she's probably 20 years younger than me, but she was talking about getting older, and I think it's a universal topic. Like, I'm aware I might be alienating some of my audience if you're quite young and you watch me, because you might think that getting older is not going to happen to you, or it's so far away down your path, you've got your whole life ahead of you, and that you're going to be young forever. That's certainly how I felt probably even 10 years ago. But it's funny how at different stages of your life you suddenly start to feel differently about it. So I thought it was quite an interesting topic to cover. It's an area I've not really touched on since I did that tag, really. So Lisa was, as I say, talking about the topic from her perspective and her age. I think when you get to my age, your thoughts on it are slightly different. So I hope I've got something to add to the conversation, and I hope you might find it interesting to hear my thoughts on it. Okay, so I saw a meme on Facebook, and I love me a good meme. And it said, getting old is weird because you're still that same enthusiastic kid trapped in a shit show of a body. Oh, that just made me laugh. But it is, in a lot of respects, true. So you think when you look at older people, when you're in your, say, 20s or 30s, and you look at older people, you just write them off as like being old people. I certainly did. Your perspective definitely changes as you start to get there. And I thought they would feel old, and in a lot of respects I feel exactly the same as I did when I was in my 20s. And then when I first set foot out of bed in the morning, my body will remind me that that is not the case. But you know, I still feel as enthusiastic about life, and are still pretty much interested in similar things to what I was when I was a lot younger. Now, I've never had kids and never wanted them, incidentally. That's not you know, anything sad about that. It was a personal choice for me. I knew from a very young age, actually, that it wasn't for me and it wasn't what I wanted. But because of that, I think I've never really grown up. I think I've always enjoyed the same things. Like, I still collect vinyl. I still listen to a lot of music. I still watch a lot of movies. I just do the things that I always did. But as I say, just sometimes my body will remind me that I can't do the things that perhaps I used to do. Like, I don't know, fairly recently I decided I was going to renovate the garden a bit. It's been, how long will it have been? Probably 6 months since I last cut the grass. And so I got weed in the driveway, then I moved on to cutting the grass and then cutting around the edges of it. And long story short, I was out there for about 8 hours. And the next day, I literally wondered why I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't even straighten up properly. So yeah, you definitely don't realise the aches and pains are going to catch up with you, because you do feel exactly the same inside, like your personality probably, and the things that you love and whatever. You don't change. Nobody really changes as a person, I don't think. Alright, just going in with my contour book. Same drill I always do really, but I just thought I'd do a full face so I've got a bit more time to chat. So that got me to thinking, wow, is there anything good about getting older? And I think there is. There's pro sides to it and there's negatives. So definitely a negative is when you occasionally catch sight of yourself in the mirror and the reflection that you see isn't in your head what you see. So does that make sense? So I'll look at myself, and because I've got quite a lot of vitality, I think I still feel pretty young. I'm still very lucky to be in really good health, and I'm able to do a lot of the things I want to do. I can walk 6 miles a day, for example. You know, I'm a fairly fit and active person. And then occasionally, particularly with no makeup on, I'll catch sight of my reflection and I'll be like, bloody hell, you know, look at this neck, for example. That's the one thing that like really like brings home to me, that I'm not that 20 or 30 something that I think I am in my head. And when I started my channel, it was all about, I wanted my age to not matter at all. I wanted it just to be about, you know, the makeup and whatever. But then you realise people are not going to see you as 20 or 30 like you feel inside. They're going to actually see you for how you really look. And so probably I appeal to people more my own age, because people are looking for what they are, aren't they? They're looking for something that they can relate to. Lisa said something interesting. She said it's important to follow people of all different ages, really, because, you know, to me, I'll still watch a 20-year-old applying makeup and I'll still learn something from that, but would that look work for me? Well, probably I would do it whether it would work or not, because I really don't care what anyone thinks of me. And that's definitely something that wouldn't have been true when I was a lot younger. I was paralysed by like the fear of like not fitting in when I was younger and not being myself, and I will talk a bit about that a bit later on in the conversation. I'm going to try and I've got a few notes here to try and not veer off of the topic too much, because it's a topic I'm quite passionate about and I kind of veer off at a tangent. So yeah, so I look at myself in the mirror some days and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely starting to show my age. I mean, I'm 54, so I'm not going to look like a 20 or 30-year-old clearly, but it's still quite shocking when you see it. So it just sort of gradually, like, you know, you don't even notice it happening, I would say, like that you suddenly, like in stages, get older, which is a weird thing to say, but that's kind of how it was for me. I felt pretty young all the way through my 40s, I suppose, and then when I hit 50, that was when I started to think, yeah, I'm beginning to get old now, or like there's more of my life gone by than there is ahead. But all you can really say about aging is it happens to everybody. So if you're watching this and you're in your 20s and 30s, this is probably unlikely, as I say, because people gravitate to channels of their own age group, I think. But if you are, don't think it's not going to happen to you, because it happens to us all if we're lucky. You know, if we're fortunate enough to get old, that's a privilege, isn't it? So, there are advantages in it, as I say, because you know yourself more and you've been through a lot of things, so you're not crippled with the same sort of, I don't know, insecurities that you might have had when you were in your 20s. I know, as I say, I wouldn't be myself for fear of like what people would think of me, and so you're always then putting on an act and being something you're not, which is exhausting. Like, I think I've always been a bit unusual because I'm quite an introvert, but I kind of do like attention as well. That's a strange thing to say. So I've got a channel, you know, that's putting yourself out there quite a bit, I think. I've always liked to dress quite I don't know, bold. I've always liked it, or particularly in my youth, probably more so than now. Always done my makeup quite out there, so in a way that's quite attention grabbing, but in a crowd of people I'm very quiet. I'll be the one that doesn't really say a lot. I prefer to be like only, you know, a smaller group of people that I know pretty well. And so to fit in when I was younger, I wouldn't be honest about the things that I was into or that I liked, because I wanted to fit in with what everyone else likes. So for example, you guys probably know, if you've followed me for a while, that I love Barbra Streisand. I mean, that's kind of the old soul in me. I love old music, like real singers, but I also like heavy metal music. I like all sorts of things. And when I was going to like rock pubs and dressing a lot more kind of rock chick than I do now, hanging around with those kind of people, I would never have admitted that I liked older music, because what would the people think of me, and I've got to be a certain way. Now I'm just a lot more authentically myself. I really don't care, you know, what people think of me. And I think we spend so much time in life, particularly in our 20s and 30s, worrying about that, worrying about people's opinions that we're never going to change, because we're not for everybody. No, you know, if you think about it yourself, you don't like everybody. I know I don't. So everybody's not going to like you, and nobody really cares what you're into or not into, because they're too worried about how they're coming across. What a world it is. I think as well, another thing about aging is that you realise, as I say, that your time is running out, or that sounds really dramatic, but you know, time is short, time is precious. There's less of it than you thought, and time is going quicker. Like when I have memories come up on Facebook and they're like 10 years ago, I'm like, how did that happen 10 years ago? That is just crazy. And so, and it feels like, I don't know, 5 minutes ago. And that's when you realise that, you know, time is passing a lot quicker than you could ever imagine. Going in with this Pat McGrath Love Blush, what is it called? Lovestruck Blush. So I think getting older as a woman, it does affect your self-esteem though. So that's the downside of it a little bit. And it's because of how much we're conditioned to view youth as being good and age as being bad. I think that it's unattractive to be older. And if I'm honest, there's some days I feel exactly like that. I wish I'd got completely unwrinkled skin that I had in my 20s and 30s, because it's that old adage, isn't it, that youth is wasted on the young. But I really didn't realise sort of how easy it was then to sort of apply my makeup, how like prettier I was, I suppose, in some ways. You don't appreciate your youth when you've got it. And you spend all of this time, as I say, obsessing over your looks when you're younger. And actually it was the time you probably looked at your best and you didn't realise it. Like I used to think I was overweight through a lot of my 20s and 30s, and now I look back and I'm like, I really wasn't, and why did I even care? And it's more important to be healthy, of course. So there's so many things you learn when you get older that, you know, you're more aware of. So now, because I feel like at 54, clearly I've had more of my life than I'm going to have, I don't do the things I don't want to do. So I used to do a lot of things to suit other people that perhaps I didn't want to do. I'd spend time, like, I don't know, obsessing over stupid things or comments that somebody had made, or I don't know, I'd fall out with people or overthink everything. Well, all of those things, when you realise you're getting older, are just a waste of time. You know, if you want to do something, don't put it off and do it now. You know, this is why I started my channel, really. You know, I didn't want to put it off any longer. I'd put it off for so long. I wish I'd have done it sooner. You know, I wasted a couple of years not doing that, and I really love doing it. You know, so I guess it's telling yourself that you can't do things is such a shame when you get older, because, as I say, you've got to seize the moment, because you realise it's a bit of desperation in it. You haven't got as long as you think you perhaps did. My husband's just bought a motorbike after not having one for 20 years because he's like, he didn't want to miss out on like having one again, and he's like, you know, if I don't do it now, then when, you know, well, I'm still fit enough to do it. So what are we going to do with this palette then? I think we're going to start with the shade The Baby, going with that. I'm just going to place that at the corner of my eye, but as I say, I'm not going to really, this isn't a tutorial. I don't even know how this looks going to pan out because I have no clue what I'm going to do today really. It's more about the chat, as I say. Another thing that got me to thinking I wanted to do this video was seeing a quote from the awesome Jamie Lee Curtis that she made, I think it was at the Oscars or just before it, but that was when I started following her. I'd never really followed her before. I've been obviously aware of who she is and seen some of her movies. I always thought she was incredibly attractive in like a very unusual way, like an interesting beauty. The comment that she made was about pro-aging versus anti-aging, and she said, and I quote, "The word anti-aging has to be struck. I am pro-aging. I want to age with intelligence and grace and dignity and verve and energy." Now, isn't that such a great sentiment? Nowhere did she say, though, that, I mean, I don't know, I didn't read any more about it, I just took that quote sort of in the context that it is. I don't know whether she wants to never have surgery, for example, but I love the way that she's saying that she wants to age with intelligence, grace, dignity, verve and energy. Like, you know, you don't have to give up on the things that you love to do or not start doing the things that you wanted to do just because you're getting older. And neither do you have to try to pretend you're 20 either. Do you know what I mean? It's great to, or it's fine to be the age that you are and celebrate that, but that can mean different for different people. So would I have surgery? I've asked myself that a few times, and it's an interesting thing to think. I've never had any Botox, never had anything done, never had my lip fillers done. Don't judge anyone else for doing it though. The reason I wouldn't do it is I'm very scared of anything medical. I hate going for appointments for anything. I've had surgery on my elbow. I had an accident and shattered my elbow and had to have a metal part put in it, and I had no choice because I would have lost the use of it. But it was kind of imposed upon me. But to make a decision to have elected surgery that you don't necessarily need to have, that's quite a brave decision in my book. And I don't know if I would ever be brave enough to do it, but I think if I was brave enough to do it, I probably would do it. Because, yeah, I would love to get rid of the turkey neck. Absolutely, that'd be the first thing to go. I mean, look how amazing it would be if that wasn't there. It looks so much younger. So that's one thing that I'd love to do. But I wouldn't want to change, like, the entire look of my face. I think you can lose a lot of your character, and lines can be quite attractive, like smile lines, whatever, because that's sort of shows like your life experiences, doesn't it? It's what gives you the character and whatever. So I'm not too worried. I've had lines on my forehead for my whole life really. I've always been a frowner and I've never had good eyesight, so I'm always squinting to see. So I'm not too worried about those. I think, yeah, that's the one thing causing me insecurity when I look in the mirror is my neck, to be honest. And I would love to get rid of that. So yeah, I probably would consider surgery if I could afford it. Would it make me any happier though? I don't know, because as I say, I'm probably 20 pounds heavier than I was in my 20s. And I felt bigger and more unattractive then than I do now. So I don't necessarily think it's what's on the outside that makes you happy. It's the confidence on the inside. But there's a way you could look at it, is that, you know, you would, if your car, say, was battered about and needed some body work doing on it and you could afford to do it, you might do it, might you? You know, just taking a bit of black on my lower lash line carefully. Yeah, you might do it because, you know, you want to renovate something. Seems funny to say that about your face, but you know what I mean. You want it to be the best version of itself that it could be. So I don't see anything wrong with that. If you wanted to have some work done, I think it's a very personal decision. I think I wouldn't judge anyone one way or the other for doing it. You know, a lot of people think growing old gracefully means you've got to never have had any surgery. I think you could still do it very tastefully. And do we really want to see our celebrities old? I know that's another thing that I've thought about, like when, so like Jamie Lee's face is untouched by the looks of it. She still looks very attractive though. She's 64, I think. But when I saw her, I was like, oh, she's clearly not having surgery. And it's kind of almost expected for like our stars to have had surgery, isn't it? And I think none of us want to see stars getting older, because it kind of reminds us that we're getting older too. We want like people from our youth to always look the same. It's just my take on it. I'm just using that baby shade that I used in my crease just to blend out under the eye there. No idea where we're going with this look really. So yeah, I think surgery's definitely got its place. I've looked though at some celebrities and they're wanting to be 20, and I'm just not sure if that's taking it too far. But again, if they are happy with that, who's to say that that's the wrong decision? One particular one that comes to mind there for me is Madonna. I don't think what she's done to herself looks like her anymore, and I think when that happens, that's a shame. Like, I think you can do it tastefully, you can do it to a certain degree. She just doesn't look like the person as she was. So I think if I was to have surgery, for me personally, it would have to be in such a way that I still look like myself. There's been actresses, hasn't there, that have had like work done and they don't get work anymore. Like Jennifer Grey, who was in Dirty Dancing, she had a very distinctive nose, and I always thought she had a really attractive and interesting face, and she had her nose done and completely looked like a different person, and she stopped getting work because of that. I think if I was to get any work done at all, it would just be to kind of just smooth things out a little bit maybe, but I don't think I would ever be brave enough to do it. As I say, it's a very personal decision, and it's something that some people wear makeup, some people don't. There's nothing wrong with either stance on that, and there's nothing wrong with if you want to get surgery or don't want to get it. I think where a lot of the problem lies is people just not feeling good enough how they are because of what society tells them that they should look like. So if you're doing it for yourself because you want to look a certain way, that's fine. If you feel sort of like pressured into it by a false ideal that's impossible to achieve, you know, with all the surgery and all the will in the world, you're not going to stay young forever on the outside anyway. But as I say, on the inside, you can be as young as you like, and I think that's what shines through, is your youth of spirit. And I think that's what I'm trying with my channel to promote, is that, you know, you can pretty much wear what you like, you can do what you like, and you can try new things and not let anyone stop you if that's what you want to do. Kind of liking this look. I want to use Care Bear as well, which is this lilac-y shade. I think you become more attractive in a way when you get older, from that life experience and intelligence that Jamie Lee was referring to. Like, I think you become kinder, more compassionate, more interested in other people, less judgmental, I think. I don't know, hung up about certain things, just let things go. I think all of those things can make you a lot more attractive, like to shine from the inside, and that always makes you look more attractive on the outside. It is a cliche, but it's true. But I think we are all looks driven to a degree. Like, there's some days where I decide I'm just not gonna wear any makeup. I'm probably already feeling like rubbish on that particular day, so then I compound it by I'm just gonna walk around in sweatpants and I'm not gonna wear any makeup, and yeah, I end up feeling more rubbish about myself on those days. So I think definitely how you look on the outside kind of impacts how you can feel on the inside. Shouldn't be that way if you're really comfortable in your own skin, but it definitely is the case for me, that if I make some sort of effort with how I look, I feel a lot better. But then again, I've never really worn makeup to make myself look prettier. That's more as an outlet for me, like a creative kind of calming, peaceful sort of influence on me. This is quite an out there look, isn't it? It's just going to be a fairly basic look. I'm trying really hard to get it to look blended. These shadows are blending really nicely, but I'm just rubbish at blending. Yeah, so that's probably what I've got to say on the matter really, but I'll be interested in your perspective on it. Like, do you feel better at the age you are now? I think maintaining your health is an important thing to how happy you are as you get older, for sure. But I would say, yeah, I'm probably a lot more confident and comfortable in my skin. I wonder if that's the case for any of you that are my age that are watching. Do you have days when you wish you were 25 again and you could wear those ridiculously short outfits that you used to wear, that I probably still wore when I was in my 40s actually? You know, do you wish you could have a day of being young again? I know sometimes I do. Just to go back and just relive that for a day. But then I'll just do it anyway and don't care what people think. This is a fabulous palette. I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to go in with some shimmers. I'm going to put blue on the lid. So we're going in with glitter primer. I think the main thing about getting older is that you can't do a great deal about it. It's going to happen to all of us. And so living in the moment of each day is the thing. I think probably not looking too far in the future, but not reminiscing about the past, because you only look at it with rose-coloured glasses anyway. Like all of the difficult things about being younger, like perhaps you've got less money when you're younger because you're starting out in life and you've got all the pressure of building a career or whatever. All of those things were perhaps not so great about being young. There's great things about being every age. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And so living in the moment of each age and enjoying it for what it is the important thing. And it's all a perspective thing. Right, I'm going to go in with this strange name shade Orale, I think it is. I'm going in with that because I think that will be quite a good bridging shade to then get me to the blues I want to use. I'm just putting a little bit of that next to that black there. So I was around my mum's last weekend. It was Mother's Day in the UK and it was her birthday as well, and she was 84. And we were having this conversation and I was telling her I was feeling old. She was like, yeah, in your prime. I was like, I thought my prime was like in my 30s, and but it's all relative, isn't it? She said she would do anything to go back to being my age with everything still ahead of her to do, and that stuck with me. That got me to thinking. I was like, she's right. She said you've got no kids, like no responsibilities, you're solvent, you've got a nice home, nice job, pets, so much to be thankful for. And yet I was feeling down because I was feeling a bit old and unattractive. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So she was definitely right. So I've given myself a kick up the butt since then and thought, right, I need to make the most of it. Right, I'm going to use Dreamer now. This is a beautiful blue. I keep finding myself saying that this is a beautiful blue. What is going on? Normally I hate blue, as you guys know. Starting to feel the love for blue. I mean, look, that is really pretty actually. I know this isn't a unique looking anyway, but that's another thing that changes your perspective on aging as well. Is like, for the longest time you're the child and you look to your parents, and then you realise that you're the one going to be looking out for them. There's nothing makes you feel old like that. But as I say, you've got to enjoy every stage and embrace it. I think that's my advice on aging and coping with it. Don't be wistful for the things you've lost as such, but be thankful for what you've got at the moment, and be excited for each new stage that comes along and each new day that you wake up in the morning and you're still reasonably healthy and fit to do things. Last shade I'm going to use is a Virgo, which is this one here. As I say, very simple look today. But sometimes I feel like I'm trying to cram in way too many shades, and sometimes simple is good, isn't it? That shade's not quite as popping as the one in the middle, but I think it looks alright. So I hope that gave you some food for thought. You know, when I do get ready with me's, I often just give you life updates and things I've been doing, but I'd love to do more of these where I just talk about certain things. I just don't know what you want me to talk about, so if you've got any suggestions, leave them down in the comments, because I love a get ready with me that's actually a little bit thought-provoking, that gets you thinking, and that provokes conversation down in those comments as well. I'd love to know, are you feeling happier at this stage of your life? When you might be quite young anyway, but as I say, it's all relative. You know, what was the age that you were happiest at? That's an interesting one, isn't it? I think I did a lot more exciting things maybe in my 30s. That was the age when we travelled a lot and did a lot more, I think. And I used to go partying quite a lot in my early 40s. But I look back on those things now and I don't feel like I'm missing out not doing them now. It's kind of like a stage of my life that I'm glad I went through, but I don't really miss. And occasionally I really enjoy a night out and whatever now, but the things I enjoy doing now are different to the things that used to make me tick when I was in my 30s, or like I say, even 40s. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually quite nice. I'm trying to think what to do in the inner corner. I think I'm going to move away from this palette and choose something else. I think I'm going to use this again. I'm really loving this at the moment. This is the KVD Alchemist Palette. We're going to use the Ultraviolet Amethyst. They all look white if I'm holding them up here, but it's kind of got a purpley sheen to it, so we're going to use that. We might use that as face highlight as well. So I'm hoping this video wasn't all over the place. It was somewhat interesting to watch. At least you got to see me make a makeup look if it wasn't, but I don't know, it was just on my mind, like all different aspects of aging and how I feel about it. And how I feel about it alters from day to day. Like sometimes I feel really young and really energetic, and other days I feel almost too old to do my channel, not gonna lie, and I think why would anyone want to watch somebody as old as me applying makeup, particularly the bright colourful makeup that I do. So I think I flip-flop around with how I feel, and I think that's perfectly normal as well. We all have different moods, we all feel differently. So if you go back and watch my tag video that I made, it's possible that the answers that I gave then 18 months ago might be different to how I feel now, but I didn't go back and watch it because it doesn't really matter how I felt then, it's how I'm feeling today about it. Right, that's quite an intense inner corner, but I'm loving it. And then we're going to use that same shade as face highlight as well, because it will help tie in the look, I think. And I'm going to kind of merge that in with the eye look. And then we have a not subtle look that my mother would hate, which is always a barometer for how interesting the look is. The more she would hate it, the more I think I will probably love it. Alright, so that's the look to this point. Just going to hop off camera to do a wing liner. I need a little bit of concentration to do that, and I can't talk about the aging process while doing it. It's a pain in the arse to do when you get this age, that's all I'm going to say. Trying to get past those wrinkles gets more of a challenge every day, so it's easier off camera. I'm going to do a lip as well, and then I'll be back with you with the finished look and to wrap up the video. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. Turned out quite dramatic as they normally do. My top tip actually for doing wing liner, like I was saying, it is a pain to do on older eyes, is to use gel liner, because you can sketch it bit by bit, so it's a lot more forgiving than a liquid liner. And my favourite of those is the Illamasqua Gel Liner. This is fantastic. I've had this probably 4 or 5 years and it's still going strong. I've never had to put a mixing medium in it. It's about £20, something like that, but well worth it. And I never thought I'd be able to do gel liner, but you need a good brush. So a brush like this one, which is the Wing Liner EO6 by Sigma, with a really precise tip, is the way to go if you want to do gel wing liner. And then in my waterline, I've gone in with a NYX pencil. This one's in Azure. Just wanted to bring out that blue there. And on my lips, I've got Anastasia's Vintage, one of my favourite purple lipsticks. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I didn't end up going off tangent too much or make it too rambly. It's always very difficult when you're trying to concentrate on doing your makeup and try and talk about something serious at the same time. I had so much I wanted to say, and I don't know if I got it across, but really what I'm saying is it's okay to feel like 105 some days and let it get you down. It's okay to still feel young inside and to be young. You know, we all go through all different feelings, and I think it's about just embracing the stage of life that you're in, and it's more about how you feel on the inside than the outside. I think that's more important, but not neglecting how the outside can make you feel on the inside as well. So if you wanted to have surgery, wear makeup, wear clothes that are way too young in society's eyes for you to wear, do it. Whatever makes you feel good is what is right for you, and it's nobody else's business but yours. And I think that's what I aim to promote on my channel. And you know, it's not to say that I don't have insecure days. I absolutely do, and I just want to be open and transparent about that. You know, I don't feel like I did in my 20s and 30s. I'm sometimes very jealous of people that were a lot younger, but then I've had that time, you know. We all go through these stages, and you can't be jealous of someone that's in a different life stage to you. You've had that, you've done it. And there's positives in every stage that you go through in life. They haven't got the experience, the memories, the, I don't know, the feeling of heartbreak, but that you can get over that, or I don't know, just all of the memories of fantastic things that you've achieved and that you've done in your life. They've yet to see those things and do those things. So as I say, it's not necessarily a negative getting older, and there's literally nothing you can do about it in any case, so there's no point in obsessing too much about it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching. Drop some comments down below if this resonated in any way with you, and also let me know if you've enjoyed me doing a bit more of a chatty style get ready with me, where I'm not talking so much about the makeup or about my life, but just about a topic. I'd love to do some more, so some suggestions down below in the comments if you'd like to see some more videos like this would be really appreciated. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you're new to my channel, I hope you might consider subscribing before you go for more nice neutral basic looks like this that you can wear to the supermarket. This is the kind of makeup I do on this channel. But guys, I just hope you're keeping safe and well. Hope you have a lovely day or night wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.